Welcome to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. Are you trying to master the game of life without success? There are secrets and strategies to living your best life. We'll share some of them with you on today's show. Take advantage of this series to become an expert at relationships. All relationships. It's time to live the life that you deserve to live. Now, here's your host, Sandra Reich.
Hello and welcome to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, a show that helps you live your best life and reach for the stars. We are streaming live on Facebook today, so join us on Straight Talk Sandra Reich, and please don't forget to call into the show. The number is 1-866-472-5792. If you have questions, we do have a prize today, 2 for 1 if you're in Montreal for Montreal Spa Eastman. That's always nice to go hot and cold. Feel free to call us. Feel free to watch us on Facebook, again on Straight Talk Sandra Reich, and join the conversation. Now, I have to say I'm very excited because she is back. She is back, Miss Georgia Dow, someone who's very dear to me, and I've really missed you on a personal and professional level. It has been forever. Let me tell people a little bit about you, and I'll explain why I'm all excited. But just for professional purposes, over 20 years of experience in teaching and counseling, a top psychotherapist at the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression. Georgia Dow has degrees in psychology and education, a master's degree with distinction in art therapy, as well as being a 2-time jiu-jitsu champion. Now that is something. She specializes in treating anxiety and stress in both adults and children. Welcome back to Straight Talk, Georgia.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so excited. I'm so excited just to hang out with you.
I know.
It's great that we get to do a show at the same time.
And it's a fun topic, and it's one that's dear to our hearts. And I really haven't seen you because both of us have been jet-setting around at conferences. Talking about couples, anxiety, stress, technology. Yeah. These are hot topics.
They are, and they're really important. I think that people now know how important it is to figure out things that aren't working in their lives so they can live better.
Yeah, it's so important. So you've enjoyed your talks and letting people learn about living their best lives. You were in Philadelphia.
I was in Philadelphia. I love giving conferences and talks. Yeah. It's a nice way. You get to meet a whole bunch of different people and help them learn different techniques and practice them out. And you've also been jet setting all over the place. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been in Canada, and I've been speaking in front of caregivers and nurses. And I have to tell you, in case any of them are listening, they are the most extraordinary people. They're on the front lines, Georgia, and like us, they're taking care of people, and it's hard. It's hard to take care of people, and we're seeing a resurgence in anxiety and depression at high levels, and they were wonderful audiences. They want to learn, and they want to help their people, and they want to learn about taking care of themselves.
Exactly, because often when you're a caretaker, you're taking care of everyone else, and you're forgetting to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? What did come up is our topic today is couples in crisis, because everybody wants to know what's the magic formula, and why are there so many issues for couples these days. So let me start by asking you, and you work at the clinic, you see a lot of couples. What are the themes that you see showing up for couples these days in the office?
Well, I see a lot of different issues. One is, how do we get connected? How do we stay connected? I think that communication is also a big issue. How do we argue? How do we discuss things? Especially when there's a lot of feeling and a lot of hurt that deals with that. And also boundaries and consequences. It's okay to have boundaries and consequences in a relationship. And not only is it okay, it's healthy.
Yeah. It's, I always talk about the fact that if there were no stop signs or no speed limits, the world would feel chaotic. Mm-hmm. So even though someone in your relationship may not be happy if you draw the line, it actually creates safety, doesn't it?
Exactly. And it gives you a roadmap of how your relationship is going to go. When you've said, this is something that hurts me and this is something that I feel comfortable with, and you actually enact that, then everyone understands the rules of this relationship, and there's less chance that you're going to hurt your partner or yourself.
Oh, so true. So true. So that's a really big theme showing up in your office.
Yeah. How about with you, Sandra? Are there any that you notice?
Well, I find it interesting that we are still struggling with how we communicate with each other, especially when we're hurt or disappointed. And I think what happens, I had to run in for a couple the other night, and the way they were dialoguing, it came across as, again, attack, defend, which is a common theme in couples.
Right.
And the thing is that I think that we all want to be the best person that we could be. in our couples and in our relationships, but if we feel attacked, we get defensive.
Yes.
So there's a whole language you have to learn on how to speak to someone in a way that you can be heard and how to respond, that the person feels you're hearing them, like not rolling your eyes and not being dismissive.
Yes.
And I think communication, I think that's really a skill in it. I don't think we're born with it. We have to learn it.
No, I think that that's a really great point, because we're not taught how to be in a couple. We're taught how to deal with geography and math and everything else, but we're not taught how to relate with other people. And it's so vastly important, and we just end up doing whatever we saw our parents doing. So if they did a great job, well, you're lucky. You might have a better way of dialoguing with each other, but if you didn't, then there's no roadmap for you. We're naturally mimics.
Yeah, I said both of these points are, the whole show could just be on those 2 points. Is I think connection, communication is so important, and I think, like you said, if you grew up seeing it, then it's easier. Otherwise, we've got to learn. And you know, I maybe it's a little silly, but I even think of our relationship. And, you know, so people listening, it's not only couples. You know, we've worked together for years. We're very close friends. We're in business together. And, you know, along the way, every now and then there's a bump.
Yes.
And I think the same rules have applied for us. And I think that you always say that we argue so beautifully.
We do, though.
Yeah.
It's amazing. An argument isn't a bad thing, right?
No.
Like, that's another thing that happens right away when, you know, you've spoken to me about when you see someone, they say that we never fight.
Yeah.
You went,
not a good sign.
It might not be a good thing, because often when you argue and discuss, it's because you're hurt, you go through it, and then the hurt goes away.
Yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's happened with us. And not only does the hurt go away, we feel closer with each other.
We do, because
we understand each other.
Perfect.
Yeah. But sometimes it takes a little while, and you know as well as me that it's a little uncomfortable when you're having that, like, you know, if I say, George, I have a bit of a boundary here, I'm upset about something, there's an uncomfortable feeling. Like, it's not as fun as sitting and having a glass of wine or laughing about, you know, it's not fun. So why do people avoid it so much, Georgia? You know, that's a very good Georgia question, I think.
Well, I think that they avoid it because of that discomfort. I think that they're scared. They're worried that they'll be abandoned. They're worried that they're not going to be listened to. They're worried that it's going to hurt even more. And so we often just think, you know what, I'm going to just shove it underneath the rug and hope that it just goes away. And sometimes that might happen. But after a while, this little bits builds up, and you have this huge amount underneath the rug. And now just a little thing's going to bother you because you haven't dealt with all of the other stuff that you could have dealt with before. Yeah. And that feeling of trust goes away in a relationship. Yeah. When you have that huge mound of stuff that you haven't dealt with, and then you have a fight, and then everything comes out. Like 5 years ago, I'm going to mention when you kept the toothpaste cap out, and, you know, and the toilet seat was up, and I fell in, and like, you know, all of the little hurts come out. Right.
So it doesn't really work to keep it in. And I would go so far as that it's all going to come out. And also, I would even say that the anxiety, every time I would see you, if there something was bothering me, there'd be an anxious feeling. And we're in the business of anxiety, and we see such a resurgence in anxiety. It's relevant. Listen, that makes me think of the leaders these days in couple research. I want to run through a little bit what they're saying and then ask your opinion on some of this. So there's 3 major respected leaders on couples. There's Dr. Sue Johnson, Canadian. We're Canadians, so we have to say that. Dr. John Gottman.
Yes.
And Harville Hendricks. And all of their work is very interesting. So,
and haven't you studied with all 3 of them?
I have. Funny you should mention.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Thank you. I've studied with them because they're brilliant, and I want to learn from brilliant people. Now, if you go to Dr. Sue Johnson, she's going to talk to you about attachment and the way you attach to someone being the music of the relationship and the emotional connection. And her research shows that without emotional connection, we start to actually not live long lives, have anxiety, have depression. We desperately need connection. We are social creatures, and that happens through emotionality. So if we don't show our vulnerability, we can't connect.
Now, you talk about attachment. What exactly is that? How would I know what is my attachment style?
Oh, such a good question, Georgia. You're good. Listen, when you're a baby, if everything goes smoothly, let's say, for example, a baby cries, mom comes into the room, soothes baby, and goes away. If that goes on regularly, a secure attachment is formed. What happens, though, if mom is very busy? Not a bad mom, but there's a lot going on. Maybe there's a difficult child in the house. Who knows? And mom is inconsistent. Sometimes she comes and sometimes she doesn't. If baby learns to scream louder, that's called an anxious attachment. And usually there's one of those types in a relationship. You know, the one who wants to resolve the argument right away. That's an anxious attachment style. That baby learns, if I cry louder, I'll get my needs met. But there's another baby who learns that mom doesn't come even if the baby keeps crying. And that baby learns there's no point to crying and there's no point to emotions. And that's an avoidant attachment style. And avoidant attachment styles tend to be attracted to anxious attachment styles. So they fall in love, get married, and one of them's knocking at the door saying, we got to talk. And the other one's saying, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want this stress. So it's very relevant. Great question.
And then we end up with this pattern of this dance in this relationship. We have a fight. I run away. Yeah. The other person comes to chase me. I try to run faster.
We need to talk.
And then we don't ever go through this. And this repeats over and over. So I guess that's one of the great ways of learning about what is your attachment style and how are you going to deal with it.
Yes.
Because...
Well, it's funny that you're saying this because I'm just preparing for Mexico. I'm leading a couple retreat in just a couple of weeks. And it is actually, this one's on this kind of work. And what we need to understand is, first of all, like you so brilliantly said, is that we need to know our attachment style.
Right.
So we need to know that if I'm the type, and I am, who wants to resolve an argument quickly, chances are I might have fallen in love with someone who would love to get away from conflict. So he needs to learn sometimes to say, I need a break. I'll be back in 15 minutes. And I need to learn to self-soothe. Right. And calm myself down.
Right.
So we have to understand. So the avoidance is running away from anxiety just as much as the anxiety person is running towards the conflict. There's both anxiety responses. So really important stuff for people to learn about. Very big.
Now, when you spoke about your retreat that you're doing, I think that for a lot of people, they're scared to go on to a retreat. It might be something that's really difficult for them, especially if they're avoidant. They might not want to know these things. They might feel bad. They don't want to know all of the things that they might be doing wrong. What exactly happens on a retreat, and how does that help a couple?
Well, what happens on this one particular, we're doing attachment. So we're going to help them identify their attachment styles and learn things about the dialogues that they can have about previous hurts and current hurts in a way that's safe and creates that connection. So instead of pulling away from each other, to come back to each other. But there are skills that have to be learned, and that's why we do the retreats, so that we have the gift of time.
That is so important.
Yeah.
That's so important, because if you know how to talk to someone else, you're not going to hurt them more when you have an argument.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys will both be able to work together on the same team, instead of being that I want me to win, which would mean you lose. But instead, you could have a win-win conversation.
Amazing.
Which is great. Even through difficulty, you can both feel better.
This is fascinating. So I'm going to ask you and everyone else, don't go away. We'll be right back with Straight Talk with Sandra Reich.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reich. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reich, on her famous couple retreats, and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Spa Munari is a full-service wellness day spa located at the heart of West Island, Quebec. Submerge yourself in beauty with one of our many treatments, specially catered to your needs. We offer facials, manicures, pedicures, hair removal, massages, body treatments, and so much more. Enjoy our ultimate relaxation experience with our spa packages. We offer a men's menu as well. Call us today to book your next appointment at 514-695-5040 or visit us on the web at spamunari.com. That's 514-695-5040 or spamunari.com.
A fresh look at today's health. Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reich.
We're back on Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, and I'm here with the lovely and brilliant Georgia Dow and the amazing Robert Wise helping out in controls. And of course, we've got Aaron in the background, who is always so amazing to me. So thank you, everybody, for backing me up. I really appreciate it. Now, speaking of backing me up, and speaking of couples, and speaking of anxiety, and speaking of stress reduction, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Spa Maneri, here in Kirkland, Quebec. They are reachable at 514-695-5040. I can't think of a better thing to do in a couple than taking a couple massage. And I want to tell you something. If you call them, again, at 695-5040, and you say the word Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, they will give you 15% off.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Wouldn't that be nice for you and your husband to go get a couple?
I might be calling right after, because I think I could use a massage right now.
Yeah, that's always nice. And I've done it with my husband, that you're in the same room. It's kind of like romantic, I have to say.
It is. It's wonderful.
And Spa Maneri is an amazing place. Okay, so listen, Georgia, we were talking about the retreats. That's interesting. We're talking about couples on the radio. And since we're in the field of anxiety, I'm sure people might be wondering where we even got to. Why do we treat so many relationships in our offices? So I want to ask about the relationship between anxiety and couples. I want to start by mentioning the research shows that when there's a lack of connection in a couple, it is a predictor of anxiety because we desperately need connection. What are your thoughts on this?
We do. And when there's problems in the couple, our anxiety levels go up because that's a sign of danger. We need to be together. This is something when if you can't express yourself, you can't talk to someone else, you feel like you're all alone. And that's a horrible thing to have to go through. So I think that there's anxiety. If you're dealing with anxiety, that can cause problems in the couple because you may be angry, you might be more upset. I know that when I'm feeling anxious, I always tell my husband, listen, I'm feeling anxious today. Just want to let you know, I might be more short. I might be more snippish. I might have a greater propensity to yell or be upset about things. And so I think that there's like an inverse relationship, right? Like a couple, if it's having problems, can cause anxiety, and anxiety can cause problems for the couple.
Oh, that's it, exactly. It's circular. Because, that's one of the things we find on the retreats is that when the couples come together, and when the first day arrives, there's a lot of, you can feel it in the room. And as the connection starts to happen, you just feel like everything starts to go down. So strangely, they're not coming for it's not an anxiety retreat,
right? But
strangely, connection soothes our internal organs. It soothes our limbic system. Really is nice, because I think you brought up a really good point, is you're in fight or flight when you're anxious, which means that your neocortex is shut down, which means when you're arguing with your partner, if you're really stressed, you might say something really not smart.
Yes, and I'm sure that everyone has had that time when you've said something and wished you didn't. Because, as you said, absolutely that, you're not functioning at a full level to that. So if you practice these techniques of how to dialogue well, there's less of a chance that you're going to say something hurtful because you're more aware of it. I think that we don't really know we're not taught how to argue. We're not taught how to have discussion. And so when the couple feels like a team again and they're like together, that's a wonderful feeling. And even in times of trouble, you're like, I have my backup.
And as feeling you have your backup, again, is like, I think what we all crave in relationships, like I got your back, is just so soothing.
It is.
So anxiety, strategies, stress management strategies, really affect the couple. And we noticed that very strangely because you and I have a business together.
We do.
Anxiety Videos, which we decided to do for treating anxiety for people who couldn't come into the office and so on and so forth. And we've noticed that couples and families are writing to us and telling us how much it's helped their couple. And we didn't see that happening. We didn't, like, that wasn't how we set out. What do you make of that? Are you, like, has it taken you aback? Like me, it's been a really nice surprise to see that it's had that impact.
I think that it's lovely. I think that it helped people understand their partner more. They understood what would be happening if someone's upset, they're having a stressful day at work. I think that it added to compassion and empathy because you understood a little more. Even if there's no problems in the couple, there's still bumps all the way down the road. And if someone in your couple is dealing with anxiety, it's a lovely thing that someone else can say, you know what, I understand, it's okay.
Why do you think that if someone in a couple learns these strategies, like the strategies that are on the videos, learns to breathe, to relax, why do you think their relationship gets better?
Well, I think that you said one of the really great point, which is that when you're nervous, you're not functioning with all of your brain. Your analytical part of your brain has turned off. And so if I'm upset, I'm not at my best. I'm going to be a little bit more short. And it's fight or flight. So it also can deal with aggression. So if you're dealing with someone that's often angry, that's very short, they may actually be dealing with anxiety. Because as you love to say, what is anger?
Oh, well, I talk a lot about repressed anger, and anger works on the same system in the body. And it's true. If you meet someone very angry, you're often meeting someone very anxious. So it comes out as anger. And sometimes our gender differences show up like that. Often men will express depression or anxiety as anger. Right. And that's relevant because you may not even realize they may not be so angry at you. They might be actually anxious. So doing these strategies makes a difference.
Yeah, and it empowers you. It empowers you to understand each other. And we also go through on the DVDs, we also go through boundaries and consequences, which is essential.
Oh, yes, you had mentioned that before.
Any relationship to be able to deal with that. And I think that that's something, again, I think that it should be taught in schools, and I think it should be taught to our kids when they're young. But, you know, unfortunately, we don't do that. But being able to learn proper boundaries and consequences make for good relationships at work, with your family, with your friends, with people on the street.
So we had to actually do a DVD just on boundaries and consequences. It's such a hot topic. Okay, so Georgia, you know, you're featured obviously in the videos, and I think that that's important for people to know options of reducing their anxiety. So we're not saying you have to go with us. There's lots of different venues, but you may want to consider that if you're having trouble in your relationship. And if they do want to find out about anxiety videos, the website is www.anxiety-videos.com. But I understand that we have a gift today.
We do. So we're offering a special 25% off. You can check out www.anxiety-videos.com/bundle, and you'll get 25% off, and that's our special gift.
Just for you guys today on Straight Talk, so 25% off is significant. So go check out those videos and consider, if not the videos, consider that is anxiety playing a role in your relationship, which brings up this question of collusion that we like to go back and forth on a little bit. Is, you know, there's an expression in psychology, couples in collusion, where they're playing out their stuff back and forth. Thoughts, questions? What are you thinking, Georgia?
Well, what exactly is collusion itself?
Okay, so this is one of the most interesting parts of psychology. So let's just imagine that, for example, I'm very fearful of close relationships. Now, if I unconsciously choose someone who's very avoidant, it actually rescues me from having to face my fear of closeness. So someone who has a fear of closeness will almost always choose someone who lives out of town or someone who's emotionally unavailable. And that's a couple in collusion. They're both playing their part of the dance, but yet they're both complaining. They're both saying, well, I just want closeness so badly. Do you?
Right.
Are you sure you do? How about the person who wants sex all the time and marries someone who's really not into sex? Sometimes once the person who doesn't want sex starts to have sex, the person who wants sex all the time suddenly doesn't want sex. How could that be happening?
Now, how is that, though? Like, say that I'm, really avoidant. I find someone that's out of town. I say that I want a relationship, but I don't. How is that a bad thing? I've kind of fixed it. I don't have to have a relationship, but I get to complain all the time, and I'm happy now.
Good one, Georgia Dow. Good one. Relationships are designed to heal us. And we've already just discussed attachment styles. And avoidant and anxious attachment styles are wounds. They are not healthy. Our relationships are meant to heal us and to teach us to grow. So if I choose someone out of town and I'm avoidant or afraid of intimacy, I am not growing. And by the way, I probably wouldn't be that happy. I'd be comfortable, not happy. Okay, happiness.
That's a great point.
Yeah, comfort, warm bath water.
Yes.
Love the warm bath water. Everyone knows I say that.
Yes.
But happiness doesn't come from warm bath water. Happiness comes from stretch. So, and connection.
Yes.
We need connection to get to that nirvana. So if they're out of town and I can't connect with them, yes, I'm in warm bath water, but I am not growing, I'm not stretching, and I'm not becoming all that I can be. And don't you feel that the greatest moments of your life have been when you stretch yourself out of your comfort zone into something that you hadn't done before, be it a conference, be it something in your relationship, be it taking a risk, sharing a vulnerability with someone? Aren't those, she's nodding like crazy if you're only listening. If you're not, go on Facebook, Straight Talk, you can see her nodding. Okay, haven't those been the greatest moments of your life?
Yeah, they have. I think that it's a wonderful thing. I think it's really scary. Being outside of your comfort zone can be really frightening, but that's how you learn who you are as a person. That's how you grow and become more than. And I think that that's something that's really important. I think that complacency equates to the death of your spirit, of who you become. And we can often be too comfortable, and then we're not going to reach our potential and we're not going to learn about ourselves. And that evolution of person is really exciting. When you do something for the first time and you're like, oh my goodness, that wasn't that bad. I did it. And then you say to yourself, you know what, I can do this.
Well, I'm really talking to the right person today. Not only is she a top psychotherapist at the Montreal Centre for Anxiety and Depression, but when I first met Georgia, I became aware of the fact that she's a 2-time jiu-jitsu champion. I wasn't really planning to talk about this, and we just have a couple of minutes before we take a break, but maybe we can tease our listeners a little bit. Talk about getting out of the comfort zone. I'm imagining when you became the Canadian champion, that must have been one of the key moments of your life. It had to have been wonderful. Yet I'm imagining at the same time, 2-part question, going into that had to have been very getting out of your comfort zone.
It was scary. It scared me half to death. Really.
Yes.
It really did. I think that I almost had a panic attack the first time before I fought.
But what did it feel like when you got out of the comfort zone and became Canadian champion?
That was absolutely amazing. But even just fighting was amazing because I didn't let my fear stop me. And that's what it had done for a lot of my life. So I felt like I had conquered that, even though I lost the first fight. And I think the second fight too.
Yeah. But you have the belt. I've seen it. I made her let me try it on. It's pretty amazing. So that's what would happen if someone gave into their wound, is they would never become the Canadian champion of relationships or the North American champion. Don't go away. There's lots of exciting stuff coming up. This is Straight Talk with Sandra Reich.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Centre for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reich. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reich, on her famous couple retreats and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Spa Munari is a full-service wellness day spa located at the heart of West Island, Quebec. Submerge yourself in beauty with one of our many treatments, specially catered to your needs. We offer facials, manicures, pedicures, hair removal, massages, body treatments, and so much more. Enjoy our ultimate relaxation experience with our spa packages. We offer a men's menu as well. Call us today to book your next appointment at 514-695-5040 or visit us on the web at spamunari.com. That's 514-695-5040 or spamunari.com.
A fresh look at today's health. Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reich.
There's nothing I enjoy more than talking about a topic that I feel passionate about with people I have incredible respect for. I'm here with Georgia Dow, an amazing therapist, clinician. We've spent years talking about couples and discussing it. I'm also here with our clinical manager and coach, Robert Wise, who's streaming us on Facebook if you want to say hi. There is so much to say about couples. I always tell you, you're coming back. We're not done with you. I'm curious what we've talked about many options for couples when they're in crisis. Okay, the research, by the way, shows that couples show up in therapy like often 3 or 4 years later than they should have.
Yes.
I'm curious, since we don't get a manual on relationships, how do you suggest people learn about couples?
Well, there's lots of different things that you can do. So you could choose to get books. You could choose to watch videos. You could choose to come in and do treatment, which is lovely. Like, it's not something that's scary and horrible, and we're not here to judge. We're just here to give different tools and deal with that. And as Robert had asked during the commercial break, was, what about retreats and what makes that different than coming into treatment plans? And the lovely thing about doing a retreat is that you have this intensive time that you spend just focusing on getting your couple better. And it's not something that you're going to spend a few minutes on and leave. You're actually going to get that intensive time, which we often say we should spend a lot of time working on our couple, because what is more important than that? But rarely do we actually do that. So even just going on the retreat, saying, I'm going to spend the time because this is important to me, says, you know what, I love you and this is worth it.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's been very profound for me to start doing the retreats.
Why did you start doing the retreats, Sandra?
Pretty much what you're saying is, unfortunately we're limited with time in our office. Yeah. And so we're just getting somewhere and it's like, oh, sorry, the time's up. Yeah. And so I was curious if we could take people to an environment, get them out of their day-to-day environment. Also our children, like there's a lot of stressors. That's true. And let's see how it would go. So we came to arm with work for exercises for the couples to do and get them away from the stressors. And we saw people falling back in love again. And it was so satisfying. I was so excited about it, and people were so excited. I mean, we had couples come on the retreat. We actually have a previous show on it, who couldn't even look at each other. And a period of 3 days, intense days, yes, but 3 days, by learning how to communicate, they came back to their honeymoon stage. It's really, really satisfying. And I just feel that I have the gift of time to teach them those strategies, which I've learned from some of these great experts in the world, that make such a difference. And we never finished talking about that, but Harville Hendricks' work, for example, is about understanding how your past comes into your relationships.
Right.
So to know your past is rather important. And then Gottman, which I haven't done yet, but I will do, is about also what are the bad habits of couples that he calls disasters, and what are the good habits of couples that he calls masters. And I don't know about you, but I want to be a master, not a disaster in my relationship.
Oh, I love that. That's a great line. Yeah. And it's so true. Yeah. This is like learning the rules of a game before you play the game. If you want to win at the game, learn the rules and learn the way that you play the game. Yeah. And then that empowers you to be able to have a better relationship. And I love when you said that they become back to having that honeymoon stage. You're like restitching over the cloth that might have been torn through your relationship.
Yeah. Well, what's so cool about all of this is that what we know now, as you know, is that there's a science to love.
Yeah.
There is a science to love. So I would love to get the message out to more and more people. We're trying to do it in every way we can possibly, so that there's less, you know, you and I are very passionate about children.
Yes.
There's less of all this tension in the household, which affects the children.
Yeah.
And that's why this is very important to me. And I know it's very important to you too.
It's true, because they know. Often parents will come to me and say that, well, my kids don't know. They don't. If you're unhappy in your couple, your children know implicitly.
Oh, without a doubt. And there's an energy also in the house. And it's so funny that couples say that all the time, that their kids don't know. I know we want to believe that. We want to believe it because we want to feel we're protecting our kids. But the best gift you can give your kids are the parents being happy. And part of parenting is a happy marriage. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, so important. I think that a lot of people might say that they're afraid of sharing, or they don't want to talk about their feelings in front of a group of strangers that they don't know. Would a retreat still be a good experience for them?
That is the number one fear that people have. So I want to put that to rest, that my goal on the retreats was you don't have to share one thing. You can come on the retreat. And we had a couple last retreat in Mont Tremblant who said they want to be the invisible couple. Right. And they were known as the invisible couple. You don't have to say one word at a retreat, because the way it works is I teach and you go off with your couple and practice. You know, it's not group kumbaya. And I think that a lot of people are afraid of retreats because they don't want to share their dirty laundry. And it's a shame, because you don't have to share anything. And I'll be honest with you, I lean towards being a very private person myself. And if I had to share in a group, I don't know if it would be for me either. But if I go and learn something and then I can practice with my husband, like that's in a tropical place or somewhere nice. That
sounds pretty good.
Pretty good.
Sounds pretty good. Learn, make your relationship better. Wonderful nights.
Yeah.
It's beautiful and warm.
Yeah, it's beautiful and warm. We got one coming up in Mexico in November, and we've got one coming up in May at Mont Tremblant.
Beautiful.
So, we're really looking forward to that, and it's taken on a life of its own. And I know that you're doing also this work with couples in the office and helping them to understand this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not one of the most satisfying things, to see a couple come back together and then also affect their family dynamics?
It's wonderful, because this is something, it's really hard. Couples take work. This is not something that you can it's like a garden. You have to tend to it, and you have to be there. And even the act of just saying, you're important enough for me to focus this hour on you, makes a difference, and often makes the other person feel loved. In the end, we're all going through this world. There's no roadmap for it, and we just want to be loved and accepted and connected and feel a part of something.
So true.
And so it's wonderful to rejoin.
Georgia, I'm curious about one of your techniques, because I know couples come in, they're very volatile, like they're sometimes screaming at each other. And I'll often hear by the end of the session, I'll hear laughter coming out of your office. You're famous for that. And I'm curious, how do you diffuse that? Like, what are one of your techniques that you use when they really coming across like they're really angry at each other and they're not even listening? As a therapist, how do you deal with that? How do you get them to that place that you can even get a laughter?
Yeah, I think that it's really hard. I think that often people come in, and as you said before, they should have come in probably a lot sooner. So there's a lot of baggage, a lot of hurt that comes in there. And I think that the first thing that I explain is that you're in this on the same team, and you don't want to point weapons at the other person. You're not here so that I'm not the judge, and you're not saying you're good and I'm bad. Right. And sometimes people go in and they're not even listening, right? Like, you can see that the couple is having a disagreement, and instead of listening, the other person is already setting up their defense in their head as to why they're not feeling wrong, and they're not actually listening. And so often the first thing that I'll do is I'll say, first, not the judge. It doesn't matter. This is this person's opinion. And to help them listen, I'll say, let's do a validation exercise. Okay. So all you're going to do is reflect back what the other person said to you, so that you can't be forming your defense inside of your head at the same time as you're trying to remember what they're saying.
Oh, that's good.
And then be able to reflect that back.
Okay. So once they reflect back and they're not busy defending themselves,
right,
does something start to happen that you can move them towards humor or connection?
Well, the first thing that I go through is probably a little bit first we diffuse the pain. So I often say, doesn't that mean that they care about you? Like, they're here because you love each other. You would not be coming into my office spending an hour of your time. You'd be watching some TV show at home instead. So it shows that we're here to do something, and that often makes people think, yeah, okay, I'm hurt, but you're not trying to hurt me. We're trying to get to a place of safety. And so we want that to be safe to that.
It seems very smart what you're saying. And so I wonder, even for people listening who right now are in this situation, would you recommend that if they can't get to a counselor's office or to a retreat, would you recommend them trying that exercise? Because I think I would, of just sort of reiterating back to your partner what you heard before you jump to your defense.
Oh, yes.
Would you recommend people try that at home?
It's wonderful. And it doesn't just work with couples. It works with any of your colleagues, your family members. Even if you just say, I hear that you're really upset about that. Right away, you can see the armament go, write down, because I'm seen. You see me.
Okay, so let's do one really quick so
Sure.
we can make sure people see it. So, Georgia, I'm really upset. You haven't come to see me. I haven't seen you in a couple of months now, and I think it means that you don't care about me.
I see that you feel that I haven't seen you, and I'm so sorry for that. And I hear that you're upset, and I'm going to do something about that so that we can see each other a little bit more often.
Oh, can't possibly stay angry with that.
It's
Let's show what
nice. Yeah.
Let's show what it would have looked like if it was not good.
Okay.
Georgia,
I was going to do that at first just
Yeah.
to mess with you. I thought and I paused and I went, no, I better do this the right way.
Okay, let's show them what it would have looked like in a normal attack defense. Georgia, I can't believe how inconsiderate you've been. You haven't come to see me. I've been missing you. And do you not care about our friendship at all?
You know, you haven't come to see me either. I'm still upset too because you haven't come to call me.
Okay, but I was talking about me.
Yeah, but I'm hurt as well.
Okay, so you can see this is a dance. George,
And don't even us
Okay.
doing this role play, even doing the role play, I can feel like the hairs on the back of my neck kind of going like, eh. And you can see even our body language, and we're just doing this as a role play, but even our body language, when we did the other one, we got closer, and that one, just from role playing it, we started to get a little bit further apart.
I was like, don't come see me then.
Because even innately, we felt that instead of, you're saying this because you're saying I'm hurt, see me, I'm hurt. And instead of doing that, I'm saying, well, I'm hurt too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I might be actually hurt as well. But when someone brings something up to you, the first thing that you should do is validate that and listen to that. Because just because she's hurt doesn't mean that I'm a bad person, that I did it. And I think that often we think that I build my defense because I hate the thought that I've hurt you.
Yes.
And so we become defensive because it hurts me to think that I've hurt you. And we've often spoken about that.
Of course. And I think it was so beautifully done, and the body language was so clear, a difference in feeling. And it is a natural instinct to want to defend yourself, but involvement is the ability to take yourself out of it and understand that something may have hurt someone else. And once you learn it, it just makes for such nice relationships. But I also think it's important how it's expressed. In the first example, I was saying to you, I'm hurt, and I was going more to the vulnerable feeling. The second one, there was a criticism thrown in that I think you've been inconsiderate of me. And it's a lot harder to hear it when you feel you're being criticized. So it's also the person who's expressing has to learn that you don't go in for the kill.
Now, can you give an exercise for that? So that I think that a lot of people go in and instead of talking about the feeling, they come in with, it's coming out from a feeling, but they come in with an insult first. And isn't there a great exercise that goes through, instead of saying, you were inconsiderate and how could you be so cruel, that you say, I'm feeling this when you do that?
There is, but it's going to be a cliffhanger.
Oh,
don't go away. We'll be right back with Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. We'll see you on the other side.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reich. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Spa Munari is a full-service wellness day spa located at the heart of West Island, Quebec. Submerge yourself in beauty with one of our many treatments, specially catered to your needs. We offer facials, manicures, pedicures, hair removal, massages, body treatments, and so much more. Enjoy our ultimate relaxation experience with our spa packages. We offer a men's menu as well. Call us today to book your next appointment at 514-695-5040 or visit us on the web at spamunari.com. That's 514-695-5040 or spamunari.com.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reich, on her famous couple retreats and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Your life, your health, your network. This is Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reich.
A great segment today with you, Georgia. Thank you so much for coming by. I always love when you're on the show. It's always interesting, and I'm far from done with you. We love picking your brain and discussing these strategies. So you asked me a question. You were asking about the strategy that you use when somebody, instead of saying you're a lazy, selfish, you know what?
Yes, which will probably not end well.
No, it won't end well. I guarantee it will not end well.
Very few people will take that in stride.
Okay, well, the first tip is not to use the word you.
Ooh, I like that.
That's the first tip, is to use the word I. I feel,
right,
when the garbage isn't taken out, that perhaps you're not taking me seriously. And I would really appreciate if you could take the garbage out. And the next step of that particular strategy puts a boundary down. If you don't take the garbage out, and then you come up with a consequence, you know, I'm going to let it pile up in your next side of the bed or whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be something mean, but you have to also explain to people, this is my feeling. And, you know, so if I said, Georgia, listen, we've talked about this. When you go out of town and I go out of town, I feel very bad if we're using that example. This is not true, but let's say it was. I mean, I do miss you, but I'm not. Anyways, okay. When you go out of town, I feel very bad if you don't email me. If you would take a moment and just say hi every now and then, it would really make me feel a lot better. And I would probably leave it right there unless it kept happening. If it kept happening, I would say my boundary would be probably something like, if you keep not emailing me, I don't know if I'll feel close to you when you come back. I don't know if I can just, like, for me, it's very difficult to go in and out. And that's how the strategy works. What do you think?
I like it. So right away, you start with I feel.
Yeah,
you
not you.
How, so you start with the I statement. So I would say, you know, I feel really, you know, hurt and lonely when you don't send me a message, you know, every couple of days when we're apart for a really long time.
Yes.
And then I request after what I would like. So would it be possible if you could, you know, send me a message maybe every 2 days just to let me know how you're doing?
Yes.
And then see what happens. And if it continues to happen, then you
go
say,
to the boundary.
What could it be? Right?
Yes. But again, what we're really strongly agreeing on is, you see, what's happening there is I'm displaying a vulnerability.
Yes.
And vulnerability is not scary to people, but yet it's scary to people to show their vulnerability. So the moment you hear my vulnerability, you're less likely to be angry at me than if I said you're a selfish, inconsiderate person for not sending me the email in the first place, because after all, you should know this.
Right. Oh, then that's such an important point. Because it's true. Right away, when you show vulnerability, you're like showing your little child, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to comfort that. And that's less scary than you attacking me, which makes me want to defend myself to that. And so right away, it increases that. But it is hard. How do you get through if you're, you had really invalidating parents, or if you were mocked for showing vulnerability, it's a hard thing. That first step, the first time you show your vulnerability, you don't know how the other person's going to take it. That's also really frightening, because maybe they'll mock me. Maybe they'll say, well, what's wrong with you? Why can't you just handle being 2 days alone? And then I'll be crushed, right?
Oh, yeah, that's such a good point. Well, I think that you start small. I
Yes.
really do think you have to start small, because for me, in my relationships, if I expressed a vulnerability to someone I care about and they mocked me, I don't know if I would really consider that a relationship,
Right.
because I always say a relationship that can't survive a conflict is not a relationship. Because if you're going to mock me for having a feeling, like, that means you like me as long as I'm not my vulnerable self.
Yes. Yes.
But and especially when you're in the field that we're in, that we're as therapists, we're supposed to have the answers, we're supposed to be on all the time. So that's a lot of pressure. And this is what I was talking about with the nurses. We can't always be on.
No.
And we have our own vulnerabilities that even led us to this field of taking care of other people. So you start small and you share a little vulnerability. So I might say, George, I feel a bit bad that you didn't email me. And you wait and see the response. And then safety is created. And that's money in the bank in a relationship.
Oh, I love
money
that.
in the bank.
Yes.
You need that money in the bank to have a couple, to have a relationship, to have a friendship of any kind, don't you?
Yes, and you need that safe space. I love that you said that safe space is creating. That's so true, and so brilliantly stated, that if you want someone to be able to be vulnerable and honest with you, then you cannot attack them for that, because then right away that person is going to withdraw. It's like two people walking on a bridge. You're going to walk on the bridge, but if the other person's shaking the bridge, you're going to go back to your end. You're not meeting in the middle. So make sure when someone does that, or if they share, I made a mistake, I did this, and I'm sorry, maybe that's not the time to jump down on them for that, because they're sharing, I made a mistake. And if you want them to be honest about making a mistake, maybe don't attack them harshly for when they do that. Doesn't mean you can't be upset at them for doing it, though.
Well, that's another good point, because very quickly I'll just say that a lot of times I also see that happen in the office, and I don't like that. I agree with you, where someone does share a vulnerability, and then the other person, instead of like sort of seeing what an intimate moment that is, jumps in and goes, yeah, and you do this too. Oh. And I'll often say to the person, you can't do that. You can't do that, because when someone opens himself up, it's not the time to go and squeeze lemon juice on them.
Right.
Right.
Don't add lemon juice to the wound.
Yeah. And it's hard to show vulnerability, and it's really hard. And I feel for men also who've grown up previous generations with the Marlboro man, strong silent type, we can't show vulnerability. And they're just learning now to show vulnerability. And we say we want vulnerability in men, and then sometimes we squeeze that lemon juice. So we have to be careful.
Yes. Very good point.
Georgia, you're filled with brilliance. Let's find out, first of all, what's going on with you these days. Where do people find you? What's up? What's going on?
Okay, well, we're going to be doing a series at the Montreal Centre for Anxiety and Depression. We're going to be doing a lecture series.
Yeah, and the best part, what's the best part? What's the price tag?
Nothing.
It's free.
Nothing. I was going to say the best part is you get to meet us. But no, I guess the best part is that it's free. Yeah. And you get to meet us. So we're both going to be there both days. It's the 26th of October and November 2nd. It's from 7 to 9:15, but do show up early, because it's always full. And unfortunately, the last couple of times we didn't have enough chairs, and we do have a limit of people that we're allowed to fill in the room. So please come a little bit early if you're going to be going.
And what are you going to be talking about? I think you and I are talking together, aren't we?
We are. What
are we talking about?
We're going to be talking about our video series. So we're going to deal with the two new series that we have in the set. So we're going to be dealing with, we did a video series on depression. We have one on, the other one's boundaries and consequences.
And I think we're talking about anxiety too.
We're also dealing with anxiety. And we're going to be talking about the bundles that we have there, and how would you use these videos to help make yourself feel more calm and happy.
So, and the other therapists are going to be there talking about all sorts of topics that are so fascinating, and Robert's going to be there talking about
I learn something
achieving your goals.
every time.
Yeah,
every
it's
time
always
I go,
fun.
and we're in the field, so if we're learning stuff, you would definitely enjoy and get to, and it's a lot of fun. It's not one of these boring lectures that you're going to be sitting through. It's laughter and fun and excitement, and we really have a lot of fun when we get together. So.
You meet the dream team. Georgia, where can people find you?
Okay, so you can check us out. We're at anxiety-videos.com. You can also check me out at the Montreal Centre for Anxiety and Depression if you're dealing with any issues and you'd like to see someone. And then we're also on Twitter, and the Twitter is anxiety_videos.com. And so you can send us any messages, any issues that you're having, and you can check it out.
Fabulous. I want to thank you for being with me today again. I was so happy to see you.
Thank you.
And you were a great guest as always, and I hope you'll come back.
I would love to.
Thank you so much, Georgia. So very special show on couples. I want to also thank Robert for helping us out with the streaming spa Maneri, for, of course, making the show possible. I want to mention this Sunday, I'm going to be speaking at a very important charity event for lymphoma. And I'm the keynote speaker. I'm going to be talking about living a purposeful life. So if you want to find out more about that event, you're in Montreal, and you want to help this cause, please go to www.takeittothematmontreal.ca. Robert will be there as well. It's going to be an amazing day with many local celebrities, yoga, lots of fun, and of course helping a very important cause. If you missed any of the websites, just call us at 514-777-4530. Of course, I want to thank all our listeners from all over the world. Georgia, we're being streamed all over the place these days. So thank you so much for listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, and I'd like to invite you all to come back next week. If you're interested in our couple retreats, our women's retreats, therapy, Georgia Dow, Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression, or any other media, just check us out. All the information is on www.helpforanxietydepression.com. And don't forget to check out previous shows. You can hear Georgia's been on many times at www.straighttalksandrareich.com. And we do have gifts there. You just punch in /radio gifts to get all sorts of free gifts. Georgia's left some great ones before. Breathing strategies, fabulous stuff. Check out our Facebook page, anxiety videos, Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. Feel free to leave a question for me or any of my guests. And while you're there, remember to like the show. And remember that you can hear this or any previous show as a podcast on my website, on the podcast app of your iPhone, or I'm laughing, or on iTunes under Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. Feel free to drop a line or a comment anytime at info@helpforanxietydepression.com. And last but not least, if you're a professional and you're looking for training or a speaker on anxiety, depression, emotional intelligence, compassion, fatigue, or living a purposeful life, remember, I'm your source for evidence-based practice and education. I'm Sandra Reich, and I promise I'll help you learn to live your best life again next Thursday, same time, same channel. In the meanwhile, this is Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. Keep your eyes on the stars.
Thank you for listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. We hope you've enjoyed today's show, and we'll tune in again next Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Now, go live your best life.